Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. In this video, we are taking the 2021 Lexus GX 460 in our standardized 70 mile per hour highway MPG loop. We're going to see what the economy is of this vehicle. The fuel economy, of course, is on the highway in a loop style, standardized, pretty comparable test to other vehicles. So let me explain the test procedures. This, of course, is the 2021 Lexus GX 460. I'll explain the test procedures here in just a second, but this has the 4.6-liter V8 producing 301 horsepower, updated in 2019 for the 2020 model year. Basically, last model year, we have a revised interior. Car's locked right now, but new interior switches, off-road modes, transmission cooler, and fuel tank protectors, other underbody protection, which is really nice to have for off-roading. But in this test, we are not going off-roading. We are going on the highway in the GX, and here's how we're going to be doing it. I've just set the tire pressures to manufacturer suggested pressures while cold. So we're all set there. Secondly, we're going to drive it from here in our town of Fort Collins up to Wellington, Colorado, get everything nice and warm up to operating temperature, get the juices flowing, get the bearings nice and warm as well. And then we are going to fill the fuel tank to 100% until it clicks. What we're going to do then is wait 30 seconds for the tank to settle. We're going to click again to full until it stops a second time. Once that happens, we're going to jump in the car, jump right onto the highway, set the car at a GPS accurate 70 mile per hour cruising range. Then at the 70 mile per hour cruising range, we're going to run up to Wyoming, loop style test back, and hopefully the same exact fuel pump that we used originally. And the reason we do a loop style test is to negate any altitude or wind variations along the way. So if we have tailwind on the way up, we'll get headwind on the way down, basically. It's about as standard as we can do in the real world. It's pretty accurate. And then we're going to fill the tank all the way back up to full and measure the fuel used based off of the fueling pump at the gas station. We don't usually trust the internal MPG calculations unless there's an egregious error, but we do look at them to cross-reference, of course. So let's see how the GX 460 does in our 70 mile per hour loop style highway MPG test. This could be kind of interesting. Now, just to take you on a quick tour of this particular spec, of course, it's the 2021, so it has all of the interior upgrades as I briefly showed you, but take a look at this. We have all of the new crawl control functionality, the off-road terrain select, high range and low range. That's pretty standard. Also, that we've seen in the past is height adjustable suspension, 3 different damper settings. Really does make quite a big difference. Heated and cooled seats, which is lovely. Right now I have the second and third row totally down for cargo space. Won't make a difference in our efficiency test, of course. One of the best steering wheels in the business right here. Look at how beautiful that is. Really nice to hold, really nice to cruise in. In terms of pricing, the base price, of course, is $64,385. However, this one's optioned up with the Mark Levinson, the off-road pack, the sport design pack, a few other things, brings it to $72,000 almost, $71,690. Now it has, of course, the smaller V8 than the Land Cruiser's V8. This one produces only 301 horsepower, a 4.6 liter, and that's why codenamed GX 460. Previously, before 2009, when this generation came out, it was called the GX 470 because it used a 4.7 liter V8. So this one has the tow pack, all the good stuff. Let's get it out on the highway, bring it up to the fueling station, and see how it does in our MPG test. Tijmen is going to be taking on the GX. It's getting a little bit windy out today, but that's why we run a loop style test. We had just waited 30 seconds and Tijmen topped up the tank full of fuel. Now you're going to run on the same procedures that we normally do, and you'll be filming as well. So you guys will be joining Tijmen here in a second. I am taking the Kia Sorento, which is in a separate video, but we just had both cars, so we figured we'd run them at the same time. We're going to alternate who's leading. We don't want any aero advantage. We're going to have some space in between us, of course. So same conditions, 2 cars, same test. Manufacturer rating on the tire pressures, as always.
So I have all my settings in normal, all the comfort and suspension all in normal, and we're just going to be cruising like this for a little bit at normal ride height as well, and it is at a constant 4 high. And And I get a little cheat screen here too to see how, we'll see how accurate this really is to show my MPG. This does not have active lane keeping or an eco mode, but it does have lane departure to where if I were to go to the edge of the lane, it would vibrate the steering wheel a little bit, but no actual eco mode button, but it does show you when you're driving in eco mode. This does have adaptive cruise control, so all you have to do is press this button right here and you can change your following distance. But other than that, there's not much to it. It's pretty simple in here. Like I said, the interior is I think pretty outdated. On the other hand, no wireless CarPlay or anything. And I forgot to say this earlier, but I do have the AC set to auto at 72 degrees at the lowest setting. I will say the interior in here is very comfortable. It's a lot of space and you got a nice sunroof up here. But also barely any wind noise, any road noise. You don't hear the grooves in the road really. And it is very pleasant to drive, and with the good speaker system in here, and it has the 17 speaker upgrade, it is enjoyable to drive. It might be a little bit slow, especially here at altitude, but you could get a supercharger for this from another company, and I think that's all this thing would need. And for $71,000, basically $72,000, I don't really see the point of this car. I mean, the V8's great, but the interior is outdated. I'm kind of disappointed by Lexus. There's nothing really that sticks out to me about the use of this vehicle or anything else. It's just old tech. It seems like it's from 2001, and for something that is this expensive, not to even have active lane keeping is kind of disappointing, but I could see why they wouldn't have it. It's kind of an off-road purpose vehicle, but other than that, the infotainment system and all of that is just kind of from 2002, basically 2000, that era. It's so old. I mean, it will work forever, but like CarPlay would be nice, wireless CarPlay, or even just something that looks a little bit better besides this. There's that black and blue screen. If you can kind of see it, it's just a little old, so you can just, like, the nav system, it's just, I mean, that's 2010, that the most recent. I think it's just kind of old. I mean, this is cool. You get to change all your switches and stuff instantly, but other than that, it's just boring. And we are coming up to the free-flowing U-turn to go back south again, and that little headwind we had will help us now just a little bit, so we get an even rating. So now that the wind's going to be at our back, we just had it in our front. And then I think I'm going to jump in front of Kyle. Ooh, got to keep that speed. This is so nice to have. You just don't even have to stop. Just instant U-turn, which is super nice. And then we're going to do the same thing, go as slow as possible up to 70 miles an hour, and we'll see you at the gas station.
Here goes the Lexus going for a pass in the front. Hey, and we're going to bring it back up. Just dropped it a couple miles an hour, back up to 70 miles an hour for the return trip home. Here we go.
There's Kyle in the Sorrento. That thing is going to demolish this thing on MPG. I mean, it is a fantastic cruiser. You can pound miles with this thing, and it's still super comfortable and so easy to drive. This car is just meant to be out there, just tearing up those grass fields and not on this boring highway. And we are coming up to the exit, and I think this will be, I'm guessing, close to 20 miles per gallon. It's rated at 19. I've got a little hope in this V8. It's gonna do me proud. That's what Lexus stands for, baby. All that V8 power.
So, Tijmen, we're filling this back up with premium fuel, and how did it go on the highway?
I mean, it's super comfortable.
Really comfortable.
Yeah, it cruises, destroys miles, but other than that, it's meh. Interiors, meh.
Yeah, so 30-second timer starting on that. Right, interior seems outdated on this. I totally agree. You know, the steering wheel's quite nice, like that. But you know, no adaptive steering, so no lane centering.
Oh, but it does have auto high beams.
Oh, auto high beams. Yep, that's good. But certainly a little bit more old school in here. You know, this car came out in 09. It was updated in 2020, but pretty much the same exact car. It's 11 years old.
Yeah,
12 years old.
I mean, if you want a car that will run forever, buy it. Other than that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 300,000-400,000 miles. No problem on these things. That's already been proven. Yep, hit it all the way to full. And let's see the result. 2.402 gallons. Let's calculate the math and see how she did in the 70-mile-per-hour highway loop.
Well, I just finished up filling up the car, and we had to refuel with 2.4 gallons, and that's equal to 23.9 miles to the gallon. And honestly, I'm not surprised and also not disappointed. It's got a V8. We're at higher altitude, so it had to work a little bit more, but it just cruises. Just does the miles when you want it to. It's gonna run forever, but yeah, not impressed, but not disappointed either. Thank you so much for coming along with me today, doing the loop test for once, and we'll see you next time.